Hi, this is Phyllis. Welcome back again to my channel. Today's video is going to be this right angle weave netted bracelet inspired by Nidhi Surana. I have attached the link to her video in my description, and if you like this project, if you like what you see here, stay tuned for my materials list and we will get started. This is a beautiful bracelet. Her project is beautiful. That's why I wanted to remake it. And she gave me permission to do it. So enjoy. The materials for today's project are 3mm beads. And here I'm using fire polish in the opaque black color. I'm going to have a strand. You have a strand of them here. And a very odd size seed bead. I'm using this bright gold, and it's a 9/0 seed bead. It's just a little bit wider than an 11/0, shorter than an 8/0. You could probably use a tall 11/0 seed bead like a Toho, but an 8/0 seed bead is going to be a little bit too much. This size is perfect. So that's what we're using here. I'm going to use, as far as my tools, I'm going to use my Dura thread in the black color. You're going to need, and I'm going to double it when I use it. So you're going to need a double wingspan plus 2 yards. The double wingspan will be enough to make the base of the project, and the 2 yards will be enough for adding the netting when we get to that part. So you're going to have your 2 cuts of thread, the double wingspan, and then when we get ready to do the netting, you're going to have the 2 yards of thread. I'm going to use one of my 15mm lobster claws, and I got these from Michael's using the gold color. And I'm using these jump rings. They are, I forgot the size. They look like they're 5mm, and I also got these from Michael's. But what I did was I took them and I made like a 1-inch extender by putting 4 of them together. And to do that, I used my pliers and I'm gonna use my Fireline scissors. I'm using a size 10 beading needle, and I'm going to use my wax. Just because I'm doubling the thread, I'm trying to avoid a lot of curling and splitting of the thread. Now, on one of these bracelets that I made, I used this 0.2mm nylon beading thread. It's the monofilament, but I was using some silver lined seed beads like these. I used silver lined seed beads like this, and I didn't want the thread to show. So you can use that, but make sure that you don't use Fireline or Wildfire or anything that's stiff, because you want to be able to have some movement in this bracelet. You want to be able to handle it. You want it to be pretty, but you want it to have some flexibility so that if you touch it on something or anything like that, that it won't break. So if you liked the bracelet that you saw in the intro and you think you can manage with the materials that you have, stay tuned thread your needle with the appropriate amount of thread, and we will get started. I have strung 2 wingspans of thread onto my needle. I have doubled it, I waxed it, and now we will begin. I'm going to start by stringing on my fire polish and 3 of the seed beads, the lobster claw, and 3 more seed beads. And this is our original right angle weave 4-point unit. 1 point for the fire polish, 1 point for the 3 seed beads on the side, 1 point for the lobster claw, and 1 point for the 3 seed beads on this side. I'm going to pull these all down to about 3 inches, 2.5 to 3 inches of my tail. And I'm going to tie these in a knot. So here we are. Here are my tails here, and I'm just going to, like I said, tie these in a knot. One certain person I know loves everything that's black and gold, and I know she won't watch this video, so it's okay for me to make it for you. All right, so we're gonna do the first knot, and then I'm gonna go again and tie the second. And I'm not going to, yes I am, I'm going to go through that loop twice, just so that we'll have a secure holding there. I'm not using my usual wire guardians because these wire guardians oxidize so quickly that they will be black in a couple of days, a couple of wears. So I don't like using them. I've got so many of them, and I messed that up. I've got so many of them, but I just don't like the effect that they have. They just discolor, and that's one reason why I use mostly stainless steel and everything, because that's not going to discolor. All right, I started off with my fire polish, and I'm going to go through this connection again by going through that fire polish first. And I'm not going to pull the knot into that bead because I'm going to go through it a few more times. I'm going up on the side. I'm not trying to hide anything from you. I'm just trying to hold my work so that it doesn't come loose. And I want to make sure that when I pass my needle, oh, we're having difficulty focusing. When I pass my needle into the next bead or the next area, I want to go in the top of it, so to try to avoid getting in between this thread as I go around. I'm just going to move my tail out of the way and go into these 3 seed beads on the side here and reposition in this bead here. And I will go through it again when I do the netting portion of the project, but right now that's going to be good because I don't want to go through my fire polish too many times and take a chance of cracking it. That's pretty heartbreaking. So at this point, I'm going to just give a little trim. I'm not going to trim it all the way. I'm just going to trim. Wow, my fire line scissors they need to be sharpened. Look at that. All right, so I'm going to just get rid of that much so that the tail is not in my way. And we're going to get started doing the length of our project. So we have our original right angle weave unit that has the 4 points: the lobster clasp, the lobster claw, the 2 sides, and the bottom, which is a fire polish. I'm going to turn my work this way. And the second unit is going to be all fire polish. We already have our beginning point. We already have our 1 point. So all we need now to do to complete this unit is to add on 3 of our fire polish beads and just pull our thread through. And let's see, what do we have here? We have a mess. I'm glad that I cut that tail. So we're just going to pull it here, making sure that our unit is proper with the little tail threads hanging out. I'm just going to turn it this way so that I can work, so I can get into position. I'm going to position myself by entering into this fire polish bead here and this one, because we're always going to start our units with the fire polish bead there. Every unit that we start, every new unit that we start is going to be made out of, it's going to start right here in the fire polish bead with the whole orientation going horizontally. Okay, so here's where we begin making our length. We're starting by we're stringing on 2 seed beads and a fire polish. Now this is still our right angle weave because we're going to have the 4 points, but we're going to interrupt the points with seed beads. All right, so we're starting out with the interrupted right angle weave unit. We're going to end up with our 3 fire polish, but they're all going to be interrupted with seed beads. And I'm going to start out with, as you can see, the 2 seed beads and a fire polish, and I'm going to continue 2 more seed beads and a fire polish, 2 more seed beads and a fire polish, and lastly 2 more seed beads. Okay, this is what you should have on your needle. All right, and we're going to enter back into this fire polish bead in the upper part of it, the uppermost part of the bead, so that we don't get split our thread. And we're going to just pull our thread through until we have this. All right, I'm just going to turn mine over just like this, and I'm going to reposition so that I can make the first part of our embellishment. My thread is exiting here, this fire polish here, and I'm going to advance into these 2 seed beads and into this fire polish bead here, and pull my thread. And once here, I'm going to string on 3 of my fire polish, and we're going to make a right angle weave unit right here. We're going to make right angle weave units on each of our fire polish points. So pull our thread here, and of course we've got the comedy makings of our knots. What happens is these knots are like pests, you know. They show up, they get into your stuff, and you know, You just have to find a way to get rid of them that is safe for the environment, safe for your project. The comedy show here. So this is a mess. This is a mess, but it is my thread of choice. So we're going to find a way to work through that. Okay. I have already waxed this, so it won't be that bad. It's just that it's not that great right now because I have to stop and deal with the thready pest. Oh boy, look at this. I've got a nice little knot right there. Well, and that's fine because I can always get rid of it. All right, so this is what I was trying to achieve before I got into the rescue mission of eradicating my thready pest. So what I'm going to do is put you on pause for a minute so that I can straighten this out, and I'll be right back. So I have completed my rescue mission and I waxed my thread again, and where we were, this is where we were. I'm going to advance the needle into these 2 seed beads and the next fire polish and pull my thread, and at this point we're going to make a right angle weave unit at the this fire polish by stringing on 3. We have 1, we're stringing on 3 so that we can enter back into it. Go in the back of it and pull our thread, and then make sure that you don't have any gaps. Pull nicely, tightly on your thread, and advance your needle into the next seed beads and fire polish. And here we go with the next thready mess. That's all right, because it won't last long. I won't keep doing that. It's not going to keep happening. All right, now we are in position and we have our thread coming out of here, and we're going to string on 3 more of our fire polish and pass my needle back into that same bead where we're exiting and pull our thread. Oh, I see the problem. I have some extra needles on my bead board and I keep getting caught. That is the problem. I think I'm going to I got to move those. But right now, this is what we have. This is what you should have. I know I have a little gapping here, but that's about to be resolved. I'm going to move these needles out of the way. And I can't just have 1. I gotta have 3, you know. Move those over here into my other bead board. And now, let us get into position to continue our length. And we're gonna do that by advancing into these 2 seed beads and the fire polish. Look at that. All I had to do was move the needles. And again, through these 2 seed beads and fire polish. And let's see. Okay, that might be better. And advancing through these seed beads here and the fire polish right there. And I'm just holding it so that I can achieve the maximum tightness here, making sure not to get my thread caught on anything. And this is what we have. Moving along, I'm just going to flip it over so that I can work on my right side and reposition myself by entering into this fire polish bead with the vertical hole orientation, and this one here with the horizontal hole orientation. So now, didn't I tell you that when we start do our length, we're going to start at this point. We're going to be in this bead here. Well, it's going to be the same thing. It's on repeat now. String on 2 seed beads, a fire polish, 2 seed beads, a fire polish, 2 seed beads, a fire polish, and finally 2 seed beads. Why is this still a right angle weave unit? Because our point beads are the fire polish beads, and I already have 1, and I've got 3 on the needle. But I interrupted those points by making the unit a little longer and adding seed beads. All right, so with these new beads strung, we're going to enter back into the same bead here where our thread is exiting. So we're exiting the front of it, we're circling around to go in the back of it, and we're going to make this our new length unit. And now that I have removed the needles, I'm getting caught on something else. I don't know what I'm getting caught on. I'm just bugging out around here. We'll fix it though. We will fix it. All right. So this is where we were. We started here. We strung on our beads. We circled around. We re-entered that same fire polish, pull our thread, and I'm just going to flip it this way so that I can work on my right side. And I'm going to advance into these 2 seed beads and the fire polish. And when I pull my thread, I'm just going to make sure that there are no thread gaps. And I'm not trying to hide anything. I'm just trying to pull the thread, hold the beads so that I can achieve my maximum tautness. Okay, so with our thread exiting this fire polish point, I'm going to make a right angle weave unit out of it by stringing on 3 of the fire polish beads and circling around and entering the same fire polish bead. And just I'm going to advance, but I don't want to mess around with this thread with the tangling and stuff, so I'm just going to pull the thread through that 1 fire polish, and now I'm going to advance into our seed beads in the next fire polish bead. And we are now in position to add our next right angle weave unit. I strung on 3 of these beads, passing my needle back into the same bead where we started. We've got a new unit, and now we're going to advance into these seed beads and this fire polish. And now we are in position to add our next right angle weave unit. And if you hear my daughter talking, it's only because she forgot that I was recording. So I have my 3 fire polish beads here, and I'm going to circle around and enter into this right fire polish bead right here. She's tickled over there, and pull the thread. So that will complete that I call this the length unit. These are the embellishment units, but with the interruption of the seed beads, these are the length units. So I'm going to get into position to now add another length unit. You don't have to watch me do that. If you need to review what I've done, you may have to rewind, but I'm just going to get us into position to get to our length. I'm going to make a 7-inch bracelet, and I believe that I need 11 units to make the 7-inch bracelet. Really, I want it to be 6 3/4, but I'm just gonna, it's gonna be close to 7. It's probably gonna be 6 7/8 by the time I am done. So once you advance your needle around all of these seed beads and the 3-point fire polish, once you get here at this unit, you're just going to, I'm going to flip it over, and this is only for people who are right-handed. If you're not right-handed, you may want to flip it in your direction where you can work comfortably, but that's just where I'm comfortable. And so in order to be in our position, we have to go into, enter into, advance into our horizontal hole oriented bead, which is this one, and pull the thread. And at this point, where are we now? We're at the point where we add 2 seed beads of fire polish, 2 seed beads of fire polish, 2 seed beads of fire polish, and 2 seed beads, and we go back. And you're going to continue doing this until when you count this, and however long you need it to be, taking into account that the clasping is going to add about 3/4 of an inch. You're just going to count. I'm going to count, I believe, 11. So, and I'm counting this one as one of my length units. So 1, 2, 3. I'm going to have to work on this until I have 11. So you work on it until you have as many as you need, and I will see you at the end, and we're going to add our little chain at the other end and cut off the thread and start all over with a new thread. Okay, I will see you then. I am at the, sorry about that. I am at the end of my length, and I have this tiny little piece of thread left, and the only thing I'm going to be able to show you now is that my thread is exiting our usual fire polish bead, and I have strung on 6 of my seed beads and my chain, and I'm going to circle around and pass my needle back into this fire polish bead here, and that's about as much as I'll be able to do with my thread. I'm going to tie it off. I'm going to tie it off by making this knot. Actually, maybe I should advance it. Yes, I'm going to advance my needle through one more bead if I can. And that was that 2 wingspans of thread, people. So you might want to do 2 wingspans and a piece. All right, and I'm going to tie a knot right. Actually, I'm not. What I'm going to do with this is I'm going to nip off this thread, and I'm going to extend. I'm going to, I can't even think. I'm going to thread this needle with my yard of thread. Actually, my 2 yards, but I'm going to make it 2 yards and 6 inches. And I'm going to wax it and double it. And I'm going to tie it, the end of it, to this tail thread right here, and then I'm going to make my knots, and we will continue. So what I'm going to do is, like I said, thread my needle, and I'll be back with you momentarily so that we can complete this project. I strung my needle, and I waxed it, and I doubled it, and I tied my knot here, as you can see. I'm just going to continue where I left off, and I'm going to advance the needle here into this bead. And we're going to, I forgot that starting the new thread, we had a little thread aster. Okay, how's that for a word? And I don't want to pull the knot into the bead yet. I just want to get this thing started so that I can begin with the embellishments. I am going to, at the end, use my lighter to burn those ends when I get to that point, but that will be when I go off camera. Now remember, I only went through this connection once. I have to reinforce. Without a doubt, that reinforcement has to be done. We never not reinforce clasping. And I don't have a wire guardian, as I said before, so we can go through these seed beads several times, but it's not the seed beads that I'm worried about. It is the fire polish. I don't want to put too much thread in them and crack them, because I have gone through this project and I have spent my time here doing the workings, and I do not want to crack a bead, especially because I am going to give this as a gift to the person who loves the black and gold, and I know she is not watching this video. I promise you she's not watching this video. I'll give her links. I'll do everything, and she is not interested at all in watching jewelry making videos. She just wants to wear the jewelry. Can't blame her. That's the most instant gratification you could possibly get. All right, now here we are back. I have reinforced the seed beads. I've done that, and I've rambled a little bit. Now I'm coming back through that fire polish, and I'm going to position myself for the embellishments. And I've got all of these tails here. It's four tails because I tied that knot and the thread is doubled. So what we're doing now is I'm holding on to that tail thread. I'm coming this way. I'm going into this fire polish, and I'm making a thready mess again. Oh boy. Now was not the time for me to make a thready mess. All right, let's see if I can undo this mess. There you go, almost. Come on down. Save yourself. Save yourself. Come on down. Okay, come on. All right. Did I do it? I believe I have done it. Well, anyway, where we need to be is over here. Up. Oh boy. See all of that pulling I was doing? I got my knot in there. Got my knot all entangled. All right. We need to go across here, this horizontal, and we need to exit this vertical hole oriented bead right here. We're going to pass our needle up there, just that fire polish, and pull the thread. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to put you on pause just for a second. I'll be right back. Well, I had to put you on pause because my thread was caught in my chain. So the only thing I did was I opened up that link there, and I took the thread out, and that was it. Just put the link back on. All right, so here we are. We are in position to add our embellishments, and that's a simple thing. You're going to string on 6 of your seed beads, and each opening, and this is where we begin our netting. So I've got my 6 seed beads on, and I have my working thread exiting in the vertical orientation here, but that's just for the first one because they're all going to do the same thing after this. So with my thread exiting here, we're going to jump over to this horizontal orientation bead in this unit of right angle weave fire polish. We're just going to enter into it going this way horizontally and pull the thread. Once we pull the thread, this is what you have. And what we're going to do is now advance the needle into the next relevant fire polish bead. I'm going into that vertical one there. Here it's like a crossover, but then I have to continue advancing, and I'm going right here into this one. And this is going to be the bead of interest in the next in our next units. So this is the bead of interest, as well as this being a bead of interest. These two horizontally oriented fire polish beads here. So what we have is our thread exiting, because remember we started here in this bead, we added 6 seed beads, we entered into this one, and then we advanced into this one, and now we are exiting here. We're going to string on 6 seed beads, and we are going to enter into this fire polish right here. And we're going to pull our thread. It's hard for me to do this with the tripod here. And this is what we have. We have our netting, beginning of our netting. So now we advance into this bead here and reposition into this here, this bead here. And we're going to continue to do that all the way down. String on 6 seed beads. Pass our needle into this fire polish bead right here. And the same thing, advance your needle into this fire polish here and position yourself in this fire polish here. and continue to do that all the way down, and I'll meet you at the end. I have gone all the way up one side, and now I'm at the end, and I'm going to, I strung on my 6 seed beads, and I'm going to pass my needle this way into this 3mm bead. And when I pull my thread, we have our setup here. And I'm going to advance my needle into this bead. I'm just going to turn it a little bit. I don't want to get you confused. Then I'm going to go up into this one here. And this is where I would start my embellishment netting, but I'm going to reinforce this closure once more while I'm here. I'm just going to go around these seed beads one more time so that I'll have 3 passes of thread, but it's 3 passes of doubled thread. How about that? So we don't want to forget that part. So that's reinforced, and I'm gonna go back here again. And here, down here into this one. And here. And we just want to go in the fire polish, not the seed bead. And now in our reposition place right here. So we've got several reinforcements going on here. We reinforced this unit, the closure, and now I am in position to add the netting on this side. And we're going to do it the same way we did on the other side by stringing on 6 of our seed beads. And I'm going to pass the needle right here in this fire polish. And I'm going to advance the needle here and get into position here. And string on my 6 seed beads. And I'm going from this fire polish to this one. See? And it's repetitive all the way down. And when I get there, I'm going to tie a few knots, and I'll turn the camera back on and you'll see my finished product. Finished project. Okay. I am at the other end of my bracelet doing my netting, and I have strung on my 6 seed beads, and you see I still have my 4 tails here. I'm just going to move them out of the way, and I'm going to come here and pass my needle into that fire polish where those tails are coming out. Pass my needle right down there. Let me just move them out of the way again. Just hold on to them and pull the thread. And with that stitch, that completes our project. However, that completes our beading. Now we just have to do our securing of the thread. So my thread is exiting here, and I'm going to pass the needle this way into that fire polish, and I'm going to go around these seed beads here. And I promise I'm going to do it today. Okay, those 2, good grief. this fire polish, these two, and the fire polish. And I'm going to keep advancing into this unit here and around this way again. And now that I'm here, I'm going to make a half double hitch knot, half hitch double knot. Ooh, my goodness. Here between that fire polish and that seed bead right there, and I pass my needle under the thread bridge between those two beads, and I pulled up a loop, and I'm going to pass my needle into the loop twice, and I'm gonna pull down on the knot until it pops into place, and then I'm gonna go back around this unit again, once again. And that knot is a nice one. We're just going to make sure that the knot is secured, and I'm gonna go through a couple more beads and cut off the thread, and when I turn the camera off, you know, you don't have to do anything else, but this is where we are. This is what we made today. Raw netted bracelet inspired by Nidhi Surana. Nidhi Surana, sorry. I'd like to thank you for hanging out with me. And I hope you make this project, and I hope you share your pictures of your projects with me on Facebook. And I'll see you the next time. Bye-bye.